It is election night in Wisconsin, the primary for the spring election.
After high voter turnouts for the recall and presidential races, the Government Accountability Board expected much less this time around. Estimated turnout is less than 10%. The primary for state Supreme Court is the only statewide race. Incumbent Justice Pat Roggensack and challenger Ed Falone and Vince Magna were vying for the title. With 95% reporting, Roggensack and Falone will move on to the general election. Fox 6's Mike Lowe is live in Milwaukee with reaction. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Mary, and good evening, Ted. By far, the most consequential race on this primary ballot was the race for the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And as you mentioned, we now know the two who will be advancing to the general election in April. Marquette University law professor Ed Falone and incumbent Justice Pat Roggensack. Pat Roggensack celebrated her victory tonight in Madison. Earlier, this is what she told us about her strategy for beating Ed Falone.
I have so much more experience that's relevant to doing the job of a Supreme Court justice. I've been a judge for 16 and a half years, and you know, when you've done the work of a judge, you understand how it should be done. You know what it looks like underneath when you review an opinion. So I'm able to give the decisions that come before the Supreme Court a much broader and more careful review.
And we are back live now outside of Trocadero on Milwaukee's east side, where Ed Falone is celebrating his victory in this primary. We're joined now live by Ed Falone. Pat Roggensack just outlined her strategy for beating you, which is talking about her experience. You know how difficult it is to beat an incumbent. How are you going to beat her?
Well, first of all, let me say how humbled and thrilled I am to receive the support of so many people in Wisconsin tonight. I'm really grateful for the support across the state for my campaign. I stack my experience up against anyone. A 25-year legal career as a constitutional law scholar, as a practicing litigator representing businesses and investors, practical experience helping families find affordable legal representation. I stack my experience up against anyone's.
You are essentially making the case that her experience should be viewed as a negative, given that, in your words, this is a dysfunctional Supreme Court, right?
Well, I think the issue going forward, and as voters around the state begin to focus on this race, the issue going forward is which candidate is best able to fix the court and get it focused back on doing the public's business and away from these private disputes. And once the voters focus on that, I think they'll see that I'm that candidate.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us live. We'll let you get back inside where it's nice and warm to your party. Thanks so much. Ed Falone, who has just won in the primary election for state Supreme Court. He advances to the April 2nd general election ballot. If we take the last couple of Supreme Court elections as our guide, it'll probably take somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 to $5 million to win this race. And again, these candidates are vying for a 10-year term, so certainly far-reaching consequences in this election. Reporting live tonight in Milwaukee, Mike Lowe, Fox 6 News.
There is also a primary tonight for the state assembly. It's the 98th district, the seat that was held by Paul Farrow. He's now in the state Senate. 5 Republicans were battling it out. This was a close one, 30